What's up guys, in today's video we're going to just be going over high and low probability weekly profiles. I'm just going to go over real life chart examples on the 4 hour, kind of covering the weeks that have just happened and going over the weekly profiles for that week. And yeah, let's just get started. Now I will note that this video is quite highly advanced, so if you don't know certain ICT concepts and words and things like that, I will highly suggest that you go and learn that first, then come back to this video, because this is going to be quite an informative one. So for those that are advanced and know a bit about ICT, this is going to be a great opportunity for you to take notes and things like that, because I do believe this video has a lot of value in it. So I'll just go over here, kind of the target / the outcome of the video. What are we looking to learn? So the first thing that I wrote down here is understand how the weekly prints. So every candle, it's literally, it doesn't matter what time frame, weekly, daily, anything. A candle prints either it opens like this, it goes higher, lower, and then closes. So that's an open, high, low, close. Or inversely, it opens, goes lower, high, and then close. So it's really important to kind of understand that and how that works. Second thing I've got here is identifying high probability weeks. So some weeks have clean structure and offers an expansion, and then low probability weeks of obviously just consolidation weeks and just, you know, internal hunts and stops. So it doesn't offer that clean expansion like a high probability week would normally do. So the next thing that we're going to learn here is knowing when to expect the high and low to be formed based on sessions. So for a bullish example, what we'll do is we'll just have a look here. So what we can expect here on this bullish candle is you can expect Tuesday London open or Wednesday New York open. So London, so between Tuesday and Wednesday, we're looking at Tuesday London open to Wednesday New York open to form that low. So you can see on a midweek reversal profile, which we'll get into now, you can see it perfectly fits within that. So Wednesday low of week, and then you can see Thursday London open to Friday London close for that higher week. So you can see here Friday. So we will also go over the confirmation of the low / higher week. So what kind of confirms that point? So why does this make this point here? If we're trading into here and we start to trade away from it, how do we know this is going to be the high week versus if we just come back higher and then come back lower? Okay. And then the fifth thing is targets. So once we understand this, what are our targets? What are we looking to target and things like that? So we'll cover that. So the first two kind of profiles that we're kind of looking at is the first one here is a classic Tuesday high / low of week, and then a midweek reversal. So kind of in this profile right here, what we're going to see is typically Monday accumulates or sets the range for the week, and then Tuesday will kind of, on a bearish example, Tuesday will take Monday's high, will form that high of week, and then start to expand into Wednesday and Thursday, putting in that low of week, and then Friday typically closes within the range. So if you kind of see this profile, that's why this is a TGIF Friday, where we trade into the range, typically because our 2 points have been put in between Tuesday and Thursday. Now, on a similar kind of setup here for this bullish example, you can see typically maybe on a midweek reversal type of profile, you'll see Monday and Tuesday kind of accumulate in a range or in consolidation range, and then Wednesday will deviate that range, so we'll manipulate lower. And then forming a low of week, and then trading into this time Friday. So typically, if we're seeing Tuesday is that low or high, we'll trade into Thursday, and then if Wednesday is that low, we'll typically trade into the Friday. So in here, what I've done is I've basically, now look, this does look a bit all over the place, but I promise you, for those that are advanced, you will really get to understand kind of what's going on here. But to kind of, you know, lay out the structure here, you can see I've kind of marked out in these vertical dotted lines here the Monday, so the start of the week. So you can see this is the start of the new week. You know, so each little bar here is 1 week, okay? And this is just all on the 4 hour time frame, because typically, obviously, with the weekly, the correlating pair with that would be the 4 hour. So if you wanted to look for your weekly bias, you would typically look in the 4 hour, and that will help you determine that bias. So looking here, I guess what I've done here is obviously this is the real life chart here. I've got a few annotations here to cover with you. And then here, for those that prefer a bit of simplicity, I've made it look like this. So obviously, this is very easy to understand and digest. And then it's not so easy to see it here as well in real life examples. So that's why I've made the exact same, whatever this weekly profile looked like, just in a more simple chart here for you to see. And then also the type of candle that it was. I've also annotated if it was a higher probability setup or low probability, which you can see here. And then just slightly above it, you can see is the economic calendar, which we'll get into as well. So now I will preface this, like I said, this is quite advanced, so we'll go through it now. And if you ever need to, just pause the video or rewatch it. that's fine. I'm happy for you to do that. Just make sure that you take notes and things like that, because there's a lot of key information here that you can really learn from. Perfect. So now that we have that all covered, I didn't want to obviously put in these little diagrams here to confuse you guys, but basically as IC traders, what do we know? We know that price seeks liquidity in the form of external range liquidity, so highs and lows. Okay, so key highs and lows within previous day lows or previous weekly lows, and highs and etc. So that'll be our ERL. And then once we see price obviously sweep that liquidity, price obviously seeks imbalances as well, so BISTs and SIBs and things like that. So we will go over that now in the actual charts. But here I've just shown you just two examples. You can see that price will look for an external range liquidity and then after rebalance into an imbalance here, like a BIST here. And then in this example, you can see that Wednesday came into an IRL target like this, and then we traded into ERL. So that's kind of the basis of all my trades and what I'm looking for when finding bias and things like that. So obviously on the start of this week right here, what we can see here is this week kind of purged this high up here, which is all-time high. So we have this ERL sweep, okay? And that comes all the way into Monday and Tuesday. So Monday and Tuesday comes all the way up, okay? We're forming a BIST here. So this is an IRL target on the daily. Now, on the 4 hour, you can see we have this little 4 hour gap too, okay? So when we see Monday and Tuesday open up, okay, it's just kind of followed this expansion, okay? Now, Tuesday has dropped down a little bit and now into Wednesday, okay? So a key thing when determining what day is going to be that high or low, you can also look at the economic calendar. So what I've done here is I've actually just marked out all the economic calendars for the week here, and you can see which days had that red folder news and which days didn't, so we can also annotate how this played out. So when using economic calendar, obviously it's a way that you can judge pre-hand or before the week plays out which days will obviously form that low and which days will form the high. Now, what you can typically expect, it doesn't always work out, but typically earlier in the week, that first kind of news release is the manipulation for the week. And then later on in the week, if there's another news release, that could also be the high of the week. So in this example here, you can see on this week, we had Tuesday, 8:30 red folder news, the retail sales. Okay, and then we also had Wednesday, FOMC, and then Thursday, unemployed. Now, these are all red folder events. So what you can typically expect here is, if I was looking, not even going to look at the chart, if you have FOMC, typically Monday and Tuesday isn't the best price action. It doesn't really show expansion moves because price is anticipating a big kind of move on FOMC. So looking at here, you can either see Tuesday form that lower week and then Wednesday really expands into Thursday, or you can see Monday and Tuesday kind of rough accumulation or consolidation range, and then Wednesday purges that range and then into Thursday and Friday, which we did get here. So you can see this high probability setup is a Monday and Tuesday consolidation, Wednesday low. So you can see it opened up here. Okay, we just mucked around here. Wednesday formed the low of the weekly candle, and then we expanded all the way into Friday, which you can see here. So right here, that Wednesday is that FOMC. So you can see between two, right? Now, when do we form this candle? Exactly 14 o'clock, which is 2. So that formed the weekly low, and then we traded into Friday. So this is our midweek reversal. So after ERL, what do we look to do? We seek the price here into this internal range liquidity, so as in the form of a daily BIST. Okay, FOMC came all the way this low. We formed SMT here, which is a smart money reversal. So typically, if you trade NQ, you would look at the partner pair ES, which you can look to see if there's any SMT divergence, which means ES would have swept this low here, and which you can see NQ didn't. So that leaves us with a divergence in price, and typically smart money uses that as a reversal technique. Okay, so now you can see here, once we have this low put in, okay, with SMT in this IRL target, we can expect that the rest of the week will form a new high into Friday. Okay, so you can see here we've got that change in steady delivery, which confirms this is the low of the week, and we have our higher time frame, Peter Ray. We've got our SMT and our change in steady delivery, which again confirms that's the low of the week. Okay, and then we traded all the way into Friday. Now for the next week after that, also here, if you guys can see very faintly, I have marked out the weekly opening price. So if you're wondering what the WOP stands for, it's weekly opening price. So you can see here if you just picture a candle here, not just all these mini candles, one candle, you can see price open up here, just did all this, and then we formed that wick. So the wick is below the weekly open, and then we closed, or we formed a high up here, and then we closed here. So the candle would look something like this. Now, on the next week here, what are we looking for in terms of economic calendar? Well, what we can expect here is you can see we have a really early Tuesday news event here, and then into Thursday and Friday we have red news as well. So what you could typically assume, it doesn't always happen, but Tuesday would be that high/low week, and then into Thursday and Friday, with the low or high, okay, depending on what type of bearish or bullish profile we're on. Now this one was a bearish profile, which you can see here. This is what the weekly candle would look like roughly. But yeah, you can see because we had that Tuesday news release here, 9:45 and 12 with Powell. You can see that brought volatility to the market. Okay. Now what did we see here? This was a very clean setup actually. So you can see, even if I just mark this out, so just kind of picture where these vertical lines are. So we have this Monday to this Monday. This is the week. If I just remove all these drawings, you can kind of see how clean price played out here. So we opened up, okay, Monday, Tuesday manipulated that Monday high, okay. We got the disrespect of the PD array right here, okay, and we traded into Friday. So you can see how that, into Thursday. So we got a clean Tuesday high week, Thursday lower week here, okay. So here you can see again what did we see here? So we saw this at the time. This would have been all-time high. So all-time high, also Monday high right here. We obviously purged that high. Okay, we have our smart money technique at the top here. Okay, this is our Tuesday London session, which it's more advanced. But for this video, well, I'll just explain that Tuesday forms a high. But then if you want to be really specific, you can look between Tuesday London Open to Wednesday New York Open. That typically forms the high or low of the week, and then adversely, so if this was the high week, and then you can expect Thursday London Open to Friday London Close to be that new low week. So here you can see we've got that SMT right there, okay, Tuesday London Open, and then we got a disrespect of a PD array right here. So we got this fair value gap, we inversed it, okay. Now we haven't confirmed this to be the high week just yet. We have to wait for that market to change the state of the delivery. Okay, so you can see we're obviously in a bullish sentiment right here. Now the close below the last series of up close candles, you can see here is the last series of up close candles. Now we finally closed below it. Okay, so here we kind of edged it right here, retesting this inverse, and we also have a fair value gap here, and we finally closed below it. So this confirms Tuesday high week, and then we retested the changes state delivery right there with another gap, and we traded right into the Thursday New York Open. Okay, and then we closed high into the range, which you can see here. Okay, so this will be a classic Tuesday high of week, Thursday lower week, and then Friday is a TGIF Friday into the range. Okay, now what how you could expect that right here, you can see obviously we have the ERL sweep. So if we're looking at this, we swept ERL. I'll remove the diagram. Anyway, we swept ERL right here. Okay, so the next target would be a discounted PD array. Okay, so which would be our IRL target. So if we've got an ERL sweep right here, I've marked out this ever so slightly. Let me just put on the 0 and 1 as well. So you can see here, this is our new range. So SMT obviously swept this low, okay, which makes this our new dealing range. So we've got from here, this low to this high. If we mark out, you can see here's the 50%. I'm going to just remove this for simplicity's sake. So we have the 50% right here. Any PD arrays under here would be a discount, and that's where price would typically seek. So we've swept out ERL, okay, Tuesday high of week. Into Thursday, what did we do? We came into this 4-hour BISI right here. So you can see this 4-hour gap right here. Price came in and targeted that, okay? So in a discount. Now that did form this low here on Thursday, like I said. And now onto the next week, what we have here in terms of economic news, we can see, okay, so we have Tuesday red folder, and then Wednesday red folder, and then Friday. So here again could be either, typically here would be Monday, Tuesday accumulation, and Wednesday form the manipulation into Friday, because it looks like we have news there too, or it's a Tuesday low or high of week as well. Okay, so what we can see here, this one kind of played out similar to this week over here, pretty much exactly nearly as well. So you can see Monday and Tuesday just formed a consolidation range. Okay, Wednesday purged the low, and then into Friday. Yeah, Monday, Tuesday formed a consolidation range. Wednesday, London Open, okay, purged that low below the weekly opening price, so forming that wick on the week, and then this made the low of week, and then we traded into Friday, London Open. So we did have this daily BISI right here, which looks a bit messy here, but this is what kind of confirmed this low of week here, so that's why I put it out. But you can see, as we traded into this BISI, so obviously this week here, we would have traded into that as well, but what kind of confirms that BISI, when you see price kind of enter that BSC right there, what you want to see is a closure above the series of down close candles. So on the daily, you would see the candles come lower into this gap, and then right here we kind of trade all the way back up into it, but we don't sweep that high, or we don't close above that high, which means we can still see price, you know, tap into this daily BSC gap as many times as it needs before we close above it. Okay, so you can see as we haven't closed above this high up here, we can see that the next week came back into that low, or into that imbalance right there. Okay, so this is our high time frame PD rate, okay, at a key day, so a key time, which was that Wednesday, which also coincides with our economic calendar. So we have our high time frame PD rate, which is this IRL. Okay, we have IRL, and we have our key time, which is that Wednesday low of week. Now we're looking for price to kind of confirm that this is the low of week, and then we're looking to reverse from here. So what do we see here? We see price close above the last manipulation leg. So this right here is our last manipulation leg right there, and we close above it. Okay, so this is a change in state delivery. With this being IRL, we have an ERL target up here, which is this all-time high, and we trade right into that. Okay, so this week was really clean, really clean. You can see Monday and Tuesday forming this consolidation range. Okay, Wednesday, like I said, purges the Tuesday low, forming low of week below the weekly opening price into the gap, and then trading into our next target. Okay, all the way into Friday. Now, for those that are more advanced, specifically London open right there. Okay, so it wasn't just a random time. It coincides with our session time and session profiling as well. Okay, now what do we get? We get price sweeping this ERL. You can see, look, price sweeps ERL. What does it seek now? It seeks a discount of the range, and an imbalance in the discount of the range. So you can see I've marked out here is 50% again. We tap right into that that EQ right there, which also has a 4-hour BSC right there. Okay, now we'll go into the next day right here, which was another high probability weekly setup, and then looking at this kind of profile right here. This is typically really easy to read beforehand. You can see that we have Wednesday red folder news, FOMC minutes, and then Friday has the 10 a.m. inflation expectations. Okay, so what you would expect here would be, now it doesn't always play out. I'm not saying it always plays out, but it did play out here. Wednesday was that high of the week, and then Friday put in the low of week right here. Okay, so you can see again another accumulation right here between Monday and Tuesday. So typically Monday and Tuesday wouldn't form that nice one shot, one kill kind of trade. So if you're looking for, if you don't want to trade every single day and you want to find that nice expansion move of the week, this is how you would kind of frame it. So Monday and Tuesday, no news. You wouldn't see any expansion for the week or highs being put in. So Wednesday, as you can see that red folder news, we came in, swept our ERL, which is all-time highs again here. We put in that high of week. Okay, now we're looking for price to kind of confirm that. Okay, we have our economic calendar putting in that news release there. Okay, putting in that high of week. Now we're looking for price to, you know, confirm that this is the high, and then we're looking for the low. Now this week was kind of really random. You can see how we just dipped, I don't even know how much, like nearly 4% in a couple minutes. I remember this day actually. But yeah, you can see Wednesday put in that high of week. Okay, so now we're looking for that reversal confirmation to take place. So we have that high on Wednesday. We got an SMT within this internal structure here. We didn't quite sweep there, but we did get SMT here. And then we're looking for price to disrespect opposing P rates. So you can see here, if we're looking for lower prices, we want to see price disrespect this. So we got this gap here, we respected it, got our SMT, and then boom, massive closure right here. We've got our change state delivery as well. Okay, and this just forms pretty much the wick. This is just the wick of the weekly candle, as you can see here, massive wick, and then we closed a lot lower. Okay, now you can see price obviously did seek out a lot of this external range liquidity here as well. So these are all weekly lows. So as you can see, each period here, or each bar I've made here, is a week. So you can see this is our weekly low, our previous weekly low. This was the week before that low, and then the week before that low. So you can see how price just went boom, 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 swept all that. Okay. Now on the higher time frame, we did put in that low in this weekly BSC. So I would expect for price to seek external range now. Now that we've got our internal range, we look for price to sweep external range. Okay. Now this week here, so all these weeks here have been obviously high probability weekly setups. So you can see which days have been putting in that kind of high and low, and also looking at framing it with the economic calendar. Now this week here was a low probability weekly setup, and for those that are really good at trading would obviously miss a lot of this. A lot of people got caught up in this mess. So if you notice that, you know, trading in this week and you notice that this wasn't really high probability, you would have been, you know, ahead of the vast majority of traders. Okay, so in this week you can kind of just, I don't even have to really explain anything, you can just see how messy it looks. Okay, so you can see lots of internal stop hunts all week. So Monday putting in a range here, Tuesday sweeping the high, the low, forming another high. Okay, and then we come back into Wednesday sweeping Tuesday's high, forming another low here. We swept it into Friday, just so we can just see all these internal sweeps here. It's very messy and it's not structured and doesn't have clear expansion. Now you can typically see that or expect that. Why? Because if you look at the economic calendar, what do we have here? We have a bank holiday on Monday, first of all, and then Tuesday is just power speaking. So typically these type of days, you can expect the AM session to be really crap because it's anticipating whatever power has to say. So already Monday, Tuesday won't be good days, and then the rest of the week don't have any news either. So there's no high volatility where price can, you know, expand on. So it's just going to be a really crappy week, and you can see that it really just did do that. Okay, so it's a very good day or week to really learn from as well. If you took a lot of trades here and blew accounts, blew evals and things like that, don't be too hard on yourself. It was a really hard week to trade. You just have to really acknowledge that you're in this consolidation range in a weekly, and you have to learn how to actually, you know, trade these type of weeks or just sit out completely. Okay, you just have to acknowledge what you're trading in. Okay, now this week here, which was the last week that just went by, was a really nice week as well. So you can see with no news Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, what can you expect here? It'll be hard to kind of tell beforehand what day we'll put in the low, but that's why you just let price play out itself. Okay, so what did we see here? You can see a clear market maker buy model here. So we have this original consolidation, which is our all-time high as well. Okay, and then we have our low being put in and we're trading back into the original consolidation. Now, another kind of advanced technique is swing grading. So I will mark it out here just for those people. So swing grades. Now, typically what you see here, if you can kind of point it out, in the upper quartile, so you can see in this 0.75 to 1 range here, price likes to generate a lot of liquidity for that, you know, that high to be swept. Okay, so when this high inevitably gets swept, price likes to generate a lot of liquidity above it, or sorry, just below it, and then comes later to sweep it out. So you can see in this quarter, price, what did we do? Monday kind of expanded into that. We generated liquidity. We didn't sweep it. Tuesday again, just consolidating, and then that Wednesday, no news. We came what? We came lower into a discounted IRL target. So you can see here that we have this 4-hour gap. Also, you know, targeting this ERL right here. So we do have this 4-hour gap right here in discount. So you can see I've marked out this range right here. Oh, there you go. Sorry, marked out that range right there, and then we do have a gap that is slightly above it, but we did tap into the EQ of this range. Okay, now what PD rates do we have here that can be the low of week? So we have this gap right here, we have a retest of this inverse fair value gap, we have this whole order block. Okay, so we have a lot of PD rates right here, which is a good target for a low of week. Okay, now we put that in on Wednesday, and now we're looking for confirmation for price to confirm that this is the low, and then we're trading above it. So what did we get? Let's just draw another one of these. So what did we get here? We got price invalidating this bearish fair value gap. So we inversed it, okay? And then we also got that change in the state of delivery. So we got a price, so this kind of confirms that price made a low on this Wednesday, okay? And then right into Friday London close, we came in and swept the all-time high, which is our ERL. So we went from IRL to ERL, okay? So what I'd suggest, guys, you know, pause the video, rewind it, do what you have to do, but really take note on when the price is, you know, just what I want you guys to really take away from this video is looking at the weekly opening price, as you can see on each week here, and see how price forms in that low and high of the week. So here, high, low of the week, and where the candle kind of closes in relative to the weekly opening price, okay? This level is indeed a magnet for price. You can see here in this example, price came up, okay? We were attracted back into this weekly opening price, and we traded below it, forming the low of the week or the wick of the week, and then, you know, trading above it. So have a look at the weekly opening price and how price forms the low and highs of the week, or what days. Look at the economic calendar, as it helps frame that. But yeah, to kind of show you guys on a bit of a weekly prep, what I like to do beforehand. So what I like to do beforehand, typically on a Sunday, because I'm from Australia, we don't trade on the Sunday. It's just typically straight from Monday is Asia session. So on the Sunday, what I do is I do my weekly prep for the next week, kind of looking at the forecasting, what I expect for the week. Okay, so right here you can see the new week opening up here. So what I like to do is look at the 4-hour institutional order flow to get that weekly bias. Once I have a look at, this is a low being putting, a high, a low, a high. So you can see we're kind of more bullish. I'd expect more bullish price action until otherwise, okay? Now, secondly, what I'll do is I'll mark out ERL targets and also IRL targets in the form of higher time frame PD rates. So I'll already mark out this range here, look for gaps where price could, rebalance into. Third, I'd check out the economic calendar, okay? Which days will mark the low and high. Now, you're not going to be right 100% of the time. Like, it's impossible to be right 100% of the time, but you can be prepared. And if you want to trade that one kind of big move of the week, you can kind of look at the economic calendar, and it can help you to kind of signify which days you should be on the charts and which days not to be, okay? Now, let's go skip to 5, but basically 4, as the week plays out, I would start to, as you can see here, Monday didn't take this ERL target. So what do we look now? We're looking for price to kind of show its next hand, okay? So as the week plays out, you configure your plan and you pivot your plan and you look for new targets. So you can see here Monday and Tuesday just accumulated. Wednesday came in here. So I wouldn't have expected that like pre-hand. So if I saw this right here, maybe you would here, but once you see Monday start to expand higher, you would expect Tuesday or whatever, Monday to come and sweep the high, and then we look for, a new plan. But as you can see, we came here, we swept that, all this internal range liquidity into this IRL, and you can see that marked Wednesday. Now what I'll do is on Thursday and into Friday, I'll look for price to kind of invalidate shorts, okay, and look for longs into the ERL target, okay. So you kind of have to play day by day and configure your plan as the week goes on, or as the days go on in the week. And then lastly, what you do is you just, on the Saturday, when market closes, you review the week and you see how well you did in terms of your plan coming into the week. So yeah, guys, I hope that video was quite informative on determining, higher probability days and lower probability weeks. Sorry, so higher probability weeks and lower probability weeks. What you expect in a high probability week is you can see the structure play out. In low probability weeks, you can see there's no structure. There's no expansion, there's no structure. Each day just sweeps the previous day's high and low, and we're just kind of formulating a consolidation on the weekly time frame or on the daily time frame, okay? Now, yeah, so on the higher probability days, you can see that there is structure to it and there's clear expansion into targets. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. If you need to rewatch this, you can do as many times as you need to take the notes. But in another video, maybe I would explain also kind of being more specific into the session times as well. So instead of just saying, Monday, Tuesday accumulate, Wednesday forms low week into Friday, you can start to see actually the session play out as well. So you can see Tuesday, London Open, into Thursday, New York Open, okay? You can see here, another example I had here was, Friday, London closed. So another video, maybe I will explain that as well in a deeper level. But here's just a forecast of the previous couple of weeks. And yeah, guys, so I do appreciate if you guys can like or subscribe to the channel. This did take me a lot of time to prepare, but nonetheless, I hope you guys got a lot out of the video. I'm glad to hear you guys' feedback or anything like that in the comments. So just write a comment or leave a like, and I'll see you guys in another video. Hope you guys have a good rest of the trading week.